Hello and welcome to another video, and yeah, it's part 2 of DJC's Amico Forever from last week. So I did part 1 on Friday, and I wouldn't have had time to get part 2 done in time for Saturday. And then I understand Sunday's not a very good day for putting out, vlogs kind of thing, because people are kind of busy on a Sunday. So I thought, put out part 2 on the Monday for when people are, back in work and they want something to distract them. Whereas if you put it out during the weekend, they might miss it, and then, that those hits are gone for a Burton. I think that's a British phrase anyway. Gone for a Burton means that it's, you've lost out. You're not going to get it. And I've had Last of Us Part 1 turn up on Friday. I'm recording this on Sunday evening. I've not had time to play it basically because I was watching Rings of Power, the first 2 episodes, and that was shit. No, I mean it looked nice, but there's only so many times you can have the same sort of huge Lake District kind of area looking amazing with lakes cascading down every crevice. Once you've seen one, you've seen them all, and so that was, and then the rest of it was just lots of waffle and. Yeah, just a 12 rated tosh, and the acting was rank, and the story wasn't great, and apparently they just completely ignored. They didn't bother to get in touch with Peter Jackson, so they missed out on that one. That's they've cut that up there, and it's going to, over 5 potential seasons, it's going to cost them $1 billion. I imagine it'll be more than that, but hey ho. But yeah, so Last Part 1, I really wanted the Firefly edition. I've got the Steelbook from when Part 2 came out. It's fantastic. You could pre-order that from Amazon at the time in the UK. But you can't get this in the UK. This is a US thing only. And you can only get it from PlayStation.com, and they sell out straight away. And you can only have them shipped to US addresses. And even then, getting it shipped direct or shipped to them and to a mate in the US, and then them sending it over, I could get really, really stung for tax. But it's null and void when they sell out straight away anyway. And then you see how some of them are turning up anyway, and I feel like I've not really missed out at all. Because look at this shit. This is VGC, whatever that stands for, Video Games Chronicle, is it? I don't know. That might be the name of a YouTube channel that uses that. The same initials. It's just all turning up broken. So it just makes me think, well, $100. Makes me think, well, I've not really missed out at all. I mean, I've seen what's inside it. You get sort of floppy comics. There's not an awful lot of substance to them. Steelbook case the Steelbook looks nice. $70 for the, or £70 rather, whatever it is, for the game itself. $64.99, I think it was. Yeah, $64.99 from Amazon. That's expensive enough as it is. But then $100, for the extra bits. I think the Steelbook from Amazon, including a lovely art book, not like an A4 size art book, but including I've got an art book. I've got the video on this channel. I'll try and remember to put a link in the video description because I showed the whole art book in the video. In fact, I did like an unboxing of the Steelbook as well, so I'll put a link for that as well. And this was not even as much as that, and that was only like £54.99 at the time, I think. And you get all this unlock bits and pieces as well. Now I've completed the game before, but that was when it was on. Well, I completed it when it was on PS3, then again on PS4, and I completed Last of Us 2 on PS4, and working it the other way, working through it again on PS5. Trouble is, after I'd finished, when I just got the PS5, and I was about to transfer all the games over. I don't have PlayStation Plus, so I'd have to do sort of the old style way of just copying all the data onto a USB stick because it doesn't save it in the cloud. And then I was going to transfer that over onto the PS5, and I'd gone through the instructions as to what to do, put the USB stick in the PS4, and it was that moment, after however many years of use, it was that moment that the whole fucking thing, the PS4, decided to completely crash and start rebuilding the library. And once it had done that and come back on, it completely, well, it had to wipe all any sort of saved game records from the PS4. So all my progress on Last of Us 1 and 2 last time round was all fucked up in the air. And so the new Game Plus that I'd unlocked on both of them was fucked. Thanks a fucking bunch. What a load of shit. Talking of a load of shit, let's get on to DJC. Okay, so we'll get on to Amico Forever. It's good to sometimes fill the first few minutes with a bit of not the main topic I'm looking to talk about. The reason being is that nobody turns up dead on 9 o'clock for these things. So I find looking at the graph of when there's more people in the chat, so to speak, it's usually sort of around a few minutes in. So there's no point sort of getting into the meat and potatoes straight away. I may as well sort of fill a few minutes and then there we go. So, Amico Forever 49, we talk about the update, initial pilot units being manufactured when they're not. So we got up to 3759 I worked out before, so I've gone back just 20 seconds or so just to sort of remind me. It's been 3 days since I looked at it. So yeah, let's have a look.
And it will have exclusive content to Amico. If it goes on a multi-platform, they will have a version of that game, but it won't be with the exclusive content. As far as the timing of release, it would be either at the same time or on Amico first and then multi.
Nick's still on his din-dins.
According to how that email is, how I read that email. If I'm wrong, then correct me. But
well, you are wrong. You're always wrong.
That's the way I look at it.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as exclusivity and stuff.
Let me kind of build on that. A lot of these games, you could play them off of the Amico and they would work, but there's something really interesting about the way things play on this controller.
Actually, just Dean TV. I love Amico. I love Amico as well because it's great content for hits. I think Dean TV is the guy with a really deep voice. I think I've heard him on a couple of live streams. He's got the kind of voice that could make millions out of voiceovers in adverts. If anyone remembers Don LaFontaine, he sadly passed away a while back. He used to do all those adverts that used to be sort of in a world where da 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 da, and he did sort of voiced all the action films. Yeah, Dean CV's got a voice that if it's the same guy could do voiceovers and make a fortune.
Really interesting about the way things play on this.
Sorry, I interrupted Nick like he interrupted his dinner.
You could play them off of the Amico and they would work, but there's something really interesting about the way things play on this controller. And I know we've harped on this to death, so I'm not going to go into it too deep. But when you mess with that controller, it's definitely different than the way other controllers feel. And it makes almost any experience that was kind of built with that console in mind feel more unique and special by extension. So it's not to say that they wouldn't work, they just wouldn't feel the same way. There's a difference between using the 64-point D-pad and pressing that in and rolling that around as opposed to using an analog stick, a D-pad. It just feels inherently different to me. Having used both for years and years and years, I can tell you it does not feel remotely like anything else that I've used.
Yeah, I mean the Amico controller is nothing like anyone else has used because it's like, I know Darius has mentioned this before. It's just sort of how the console looks, but it's like the Homermobile. I think did I mention this last time in this stream? I think. Yeah, just the controller is just an absolute bunch of random gibberish and shite that they've all thrown into one package, and then look at the shite that's come out of it. So yeah, it'll never look like anything else because no one else wants it.
And that makes it.
Hang on. That was a good windy pops.
Kind of unique and special, right?
Well, we've got 3 special cases here.
Of itself. Now, can a lot of these games be played?
The fact they took all the BBG deal, it increases the chances there will also be an Amico console. Where is it being made? Where is it being made?
Played elsewhere? Yeah. Would I want to say something like emoji charades on like a regular console? No, not really.
Hey, Chris.
That really works best with the screen or like a cell phone or something is really built with that in mind.
I think the Atari Creep is drinking the paint.
So stuff like that I don't think would translate well at all.
Yeah, I mean, there's certain ones that are like that controller is fantastic to play that. I mean, yeah, can you play them like you were saying on other things, but like stuff we were talking about, like the shooter, like Flying Tigers, where you can just roll your thumb in like a circle and your plane's just like this, you know, like I was really impressed with that.
Same as you can do with a joystick, you mean?
You know, yeah, it was just like such a good thing, and I know people are like, there's all this hate and everything about it. Whatever, everyone's different, you know. If they're going to think what they're going to
well, you certainly are different, DJC.
Think, but I really think the controller is unique. But once again, they're doing this. Things have changed. Like, we got to remember, this isn't the same Ten Commandments early version of the Amico. This is, we need to survive, keep this going, release the console.
So this is DJC being gaslit by Phil Adam because he's let Tommy's run off with all the money, or a load of the money, and in fact, even in the comments, DJC is claiming that Tommy never took a paycheck out of this, and that he's put more money into it than he's taken out, which is fucking bollocks. You really have to be fucking a right thick twat to believe that. And I'm sorry, I forget who it was who said they enjoy the Britishisms that I come out with on these videos, and thick twat is one of them, and we have a right bunch of thick twats here. But yeah, he just believes everything that's coming out, and how everything will change, and how it's okay that things will change because Tommy's run off and Phil's just keeping the scam train going. DJC just doesn't get it, and the other two are fucking letting it happen.
And have longevity with new games coming out for years after that. It isn't just ship founders and we did it. No, we got to have at least a few years of new content coming in.
Where are you going to get the new content coming? Who's going to put the content out? Even the Atari VCS came out, and there was I forget the name of the game I was playing. What was it? I'm sorry, I've forgotten the name of it. It was about a year ago I was playing it. There was a game that came out on the PC, which also came out on the VCS, and it was okay. The guy was adding to it frequently, but then he just said that he was going to stop making the VCS version. So stop working on that one, because basically, given the amount of units out there and the amount of copies that people were buying, it just wasn't viable to make a separate version for that. You may as well just work on the Steam version. So no one is going to support this Amico long term. You need 100,000 people to own one to start making loads and loads of money. To make decent money out of selling games on it. And if only these three bods and a bunch of other obsessives have got one, even if they all bought one copy each of each game, you're still not going to, make enough money out of it to bother to make a separate Amico version, are you? And
this is their way to make that money. Unfortunately, yes. I'm all about exclusivity on a console. So
I am too.
Hearing that. I don't like hearing it, but it's going to help them in the long run. It's going to help them financially, and get this going and rolling, and people fans.
Are we all about exclusivity?
Hang on. Let's the world settle down, and let's say the world according to RAB.
And get this going and rolling, and people fans.
Are we all about exclusivity on a console?
No, not all, but I mean, I feel like having exclusive games does help sell consoles.
Yes, and how many exclusive games does Sony have on its console?
Right now,
this is fucking hilarious. This is hilarious. Just RAB. This shows the extent of how much RAB has been gaslit by Tommy and the gang.
They've got a few, but most of them are at least going to PC.
On the PS4, and the PS5, if you go on the PlayStation Store right now, they say they have 40 exclusive games. Out of a library of about 3,260 games, Sony has 40 exclusives across two consoles.
So let's just get those figures again. So 40 exclusives.
260 games, Sony has 40 exclusives. Library of about 3,260 games.
So 40 out of 3,260 games. So that is... So that's about just a shade over 1%. So his justification, I mean, he has a figure for Switch as well, so we'll get to that first.
Sony has 40 exclusives across 2 consoles, and some of those are reissues of things like, you know, the Last Guardian and some other games that have been remade.
Right, Spider-Man. I think they did like a gold Game of the Year edition or whatever. But Last of Us, the Last of Us, the Part 1. Obviously, I mentioned that before. They're on the 3rd version of that now. Yeah, because they make an absolute fucking fuck ton of money. That's why they do them. If no one had bought Last of Us Part 1 on the PS3, do you think they'd still be making it for the PS4 and PS5? No. They make an absolute fuck ton of money. Amico would keep making version after version after version for each console, successive. If Amico 2 and Amico 3, if they could get away with the same thing. That's why they do it. And he's moaning that only a handful, by comparison, of games are exclusives. But it was Intellivision who shot themselves in the foot by saying they were all going to be exclusives. So they set the bar low on that one. And Sony do it because they make a shit ton of money. So Sony is right.
So we go to war as console warriors over exclusivity. And if you do the math, 3,260 games that Sony has, 40 of them across 2 console generations are exclusive. Now, that is less than 1%. That's about 1%.
Yeah, I just did the maths. It's about 1.22%. Really, RAB is the only one out of these 3 that, well, I was going to say that we know is married. I just see Nick's got a wedding ring there, unless it's an engagement ring. I've no idea which is which. So at least, well, let's say they're both married. Don't think DJC isn't. Surely their wives will be saying, guys, you're making an absolute fucking arse of yourself on the internet every single fucking week. Why don't you just fucking stop doing this shit? DJC is leading you down the path to fucking stupid land, and you're following him with the fucking Pied Piper, trilling away on his silly little flute. Pack it in. Come spend time with the wife. Come and pleasure me. Come play video games with the kids. Go outside, kick a ball. So, okay, this is all they're filming this about 9:30 in the evening at night, so kids may have gone to bed, but go and pleasure your wives or something. Stop pissing around with this piece of shit. Okay, now I see there's a comment from BM Forever. Is that Papa Pete? I don't know that. I know this guy comments many times in the unofficial Amico subreddit, which has got more people. If you go to Reddit, the subreddit is Intellivision_Amico. It's got more people in there than the official Amico, which is just Amico subreddit. And yeah, it's a lot more interesting to read. And they pick apart this farce every week as well. But yeah, you just said, I know I always visit the wrong places for info. Oh, you mean places that actually know that, understand that Intellivision has shut down? But can you guys confirm that TT still works in Intellivision? People are saying TT is no longer involved with the console. Well, fucking duh. What do you think? If you think he's still involved, he's long since fucked off. He's made his money and fucked off. How stupid can you be to think he's still involved? He's made his money. He's trying to distance himself from the scam. Why they're even going in for about a 5th or 6th bite of the cherry, God alone knows. It's just absolute madness. You think they all would have just, disappeared. They've closed everything down. Then again, they can still, until they all get locked up in jail, they can still try and mint some more money out of you saps. Until the time comes when the law kicks in the door and slaps the cuffs on. Then again, if it's in America, the law just seems to shoot first, ask questions later.
So 1% of Sony's games are exclusive. Nintendo has about 6,000 games on the Switch. If you go right now and look how many exclusives are there on the Switch, I don't trust Wikipedia on the numbers, but if you go onto Nintendo...
I don't trust Wikipedia. Well, about... Someone did a survey or a calculation, whatever it was, about some time ago. they worked out that just as much, something like about 50% of what was on Wikipedia was true, and just about 50% of what was in was it the Encyclopedia Britannica or something similar was also true. So it was no better or worse than that. So you may as well take it. I mean, the information will be put in by people who, for something like that, the information will be put in by people who have an affinity with the consoles. So yeah, besides, you can generally go through and work out which ones are general exclusives. So it wouldn't take you too long. But again, he's just barking up the wrong tree for something to say, trying to sound authoritative and just coming out just clearly just like a fucking twat.
If you go onto Wikipedia, it's about 100 out of 6,000 games. So if we are all about exclusives, we don't punish any of these other systems because they are not entirely exclusives. We're like all or nothing.
Well, PandaSub actually has something proper to say. Exclusives to a pricey machine need a reason to go there. Yeah, see, PlayStation gets people in with God of War, Last of Us, Uncharted, that kind of thing. And Xbox has all its games on PC as well, but Nintendo has its Mario games on there, so yeah.
If Amico has any games that are not exclusive, then we're going to kick them for that. If Amico is 80% exclusive games, that's not good enough for us. I think we are too tough a crowd to please. I think this is a promise that...
It's easy to be disappointed by the changes in direction by Phil. However, any company that has a CEO change will have a direction change as well. God, this is like people who vote Tory. They're going to change the Prime Minister. We'll just end up with a similar twat compared to the current twat that's already that's on his way out. But you just basically neither is any good. You can change the person at the top, but none of them have got any ideas about what to do, and they just have no ideas that are in the best interests of the people who vote for them. And these people are like people who vote Tory. They can see, well, it's like they can't see that the people they voted for are the people who are absolutely fucking shafting them. Absolutely thick as mince.
Tommy shouldn't have made that every game is going to be exclusive because it traps them in a corner.
Oh, I think Ted, I don't forget to talk about Phil shouldn't be held to any of Tommy's early ideas. Well, no, he should be. They should all have had this. If Tommy's still involved in some way, or they claims to be, they should all be, talking with each other on a regular basis about how to take things forward. Just because you change the CEO, and well, Tommy's still supposed to have got creative officer or something, and president. So yeah, it's just that he would still technically have a hand in it all, a major hand. So they should all be still bouncing around the same ideas. Unfortunately for these idiots, the idea has only ever been to be a scam from day one. And these fucking clueless twats don't get it.
That every game is going to be exclusive because it traps them in a corner.
It does corner them significantly.
The statement should have been, we want games on Amico to be like games nowhere else, and we're going to have exclusive games.
Sorry to keep stopping, but Rab's just talking also absolute horseshit, as usual. A lot of people are assuming Tommy Taliabaco is focusing on his video games live concerts. That is what he's focusing on. He's fucked off. What else do you think he's doing? I mean, well, I'm not even going to go into the I'm not sure what... fuck, it's made me want to go and have a bloody look now. I'm trying not to just keep going into this, but... PMSC is still the president of Intellivision. Well, yeah, he's still technically the president, but he's not doing anything about it. He's technically in name only. He said it's fucked off.
But it doesn't mean they're all going to be exclusive. But he went there, and now everybody is saying, "Oh, you lied! You're not going to keep this exclusive."
Yeah, I don't think that's even a thing now.
Throw it under the bus.
Gaslit.
Like I said, do you throw Sony under the bus? Do you throw Nintendo? But they didn't make that statement. No, but they make tons and tons of other statements, and they don't keep their words on that either.
Selective, being selective about what's been said. Thick twat. Oh, fast, but yeah, Next Level Gaming, Mike Malist. Yeah. Sad motherfucker.
Yeah, we're going to support the Wii U. No, you're not. You've already let it die. So you're just giving us lip service.
They didn't give the Wii U lip service. That console came out 16 years ago. Things move on. They move on to the next console. They had the 3DS and all the other variations of DS, and then we got the Switch. They've moved on. The whole thing about using your hands to wave about in front of a screen, that's gone. That was kind of thing that seemed cool with like Minority Report. And then I remember when Xbox had its what's it called, the Kinect. And I tried that. I thought, oh, that's going to be cool. It's going to be like I'm going to be able to sort of stand in front of my TV and just wave my hands all around, like Minority Report. And then you realise it's a damn sight more, damn sight easier to use and feels much more natural if I'm just holding a controller. I don't want to be standing up and waving my fucking arms all around. I want to be just sat down with my controller and my drink.
Oh, that'll be like the console come 10 years
Nintendo
from now.
with an NES with a...
Sorry, I forgot to end my point. The point is that idea quickly faded. And I know it's been said before by others, but people had Wii Sports and that was big and so on, and then they moved on from that because that was sort of the big game, and then they played some of the other games on the Wii U and things like that, or the Wii and the Wii U. Oh well, the Wii U was a very short-lived thing anyway by comparison. But the Wii, that was 16 years ago, and people enjoyed that at the time, but then they moved on, and then they're on the Switch. You can technically get cornhole on the Switch and on even a mobile phone. I tried it once and that was enough because it was shit. But the Wii idea is long since gone, so no one needs it on the Amico.
A keyboard and a microphone and it's going to look like VCR. They will go in one way, and based on feedback, they might make changes. And sometimes they make promises and statements to us as fans about things that they're working on. They don't do it as much anymore. I think Intellivision is very guilty of saying a lot of stuff and not.
Oh, see how quickly DJC moves that comment on. He realizes I put it up from Sweet and Tender Hooligan, and then I just realized that he's saying something negative about Amico. Oh dear, we've got to get rid of that, haven't we? You wanker. Those promises and ideas are what they raised all the money on. A lot of money and the years of salaries, precisely.
They don't do it as much anymore. I think Intellivision is very guilty of saying a lot of stuff and not delivering on some of that stuff. So they can get feedback, and they can get some pushback, and they can get some angry fans from that. But I think that doesn't take us off the hook for being a little bit too unreasonable. If you think having 10% of your games be non-exclusive and that's like a killer for you, like I said, look at those Sony numbers, look at Nintendo numbers, and that I didn't even talk about Xbox because they don't do anything exclusive. Everything is also on PC. So yeah, it's disappointing that they're not going to have everything exclusive.
Oh my god, I'm actually agreeing with Mike Mellis. I've got a PS Vita. You can play any game on that one. Ages ago. I got it fucking years ago, and then I thought it seemed really difficult to try and get games on it without. Well, I could install games on it, and then when I uninstalled them, the amount of space on the SD card thing didn't reduce, so I just kept filling it up with games, uninstalling the games, and then I couldn't get any more games on, and I thought I can't figure this out. So I thought, right, I'll put it to one side and I'll come back to it later. About 3 years later, I finally picked it up and thought, like during the pandemic, I thought, I've got to get this sorted out. I keep telling myself I'm going to set time aside to sort this out. And I thought, right, and I switched it on, started doing stuff with it, and it worked straight away. And when I deleted a game from it, it freed up the space. So God knows what the problem was. It's been about a year since I've used it. I really need to get back into that. But the stupid thing was when I connected up to the PC and started using it to, have it come up so I can use it with OBS to record game footage. It wouldn't quite. I can't remember exactly what the process was, but whatever I did to sort of make it connect with the PC was different to how I used to do it. I think I had to apply some sort of update, not the not an update, not a firmware update, because that'll just fuck it up completely. But just some sort of slight thing to it, just sort of not updates per se, but like a sort of how can I describe it? It was something to, I can't remember offhand now. It was something that gave me access to, get it, make the Vita talk to the PC into OBS. But by doing that, it stopped me stopped me transferring games from the PC directly. And I don't know why it did that, and I don't know how to change it. I don't know how to fix that. Again, I just put that to one side, but there was still a way to do it. I could still download them via Wi-Fi, so it wasn't a deal breaker. It wasn't another reason for me to just think, right, fuck it, I'll just put it to one side for 3 years, like an idiot again. But yeah, I've just been the last year. It's just been a fucking weird one anyway. Yeah, Mum died and all kinds of. You just sort of end up in a fucking massive funk for so fucking long that then you just can't see, and then I just sort of finally started coming out. When she died February last year. I finally started coming out of the funk in about. The fucking winter didn't help, with everything being dark all the time, and then I sort of started coming out of the funk around about sort of May this year, sort of middle of May time, and then because of the summer, I just because I've changed completely. I just felt like I've got to be out the house a lot more than I used to be, and so less time playing games, and so I've just sort of in a better mental state, getting out the house a lot, but just playing a lot less games. But yeah, I need to. Hey, when it goes pitch fucking black again, then we can't be outside so much. Maybe I'll get back into it then. We'll see.
But I think we have to be a little bit reasonable as humans as well. They are trying to put this thing out. They did not plan for the pandemic. They did not plan for things to go down the way they did. Maybe they were incompetent in some ways. Maybe they are trying to scam you of some money.
It's different.
They've run into some issues, and they're trying to resolve
the Intellivision that. Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to talk over. It's not the Intellivision that was like 3 years ago. That
it is, because Tommy's still there technically.
Well, like that's why I was bringing up. It's like you got to kind of bend some of these 10 commandments to get by now. To get this out. And and I'm not saying stuff like no DLC and family friendly and all that stuff. That's still a thing. But but you're right. I think it's just. You got to do what you got to do, right? At this point, they're not
commandments in stone. I know them. Why call them commandments? Because someone made a poor choice.
Someone made a
language
thing.
To call.
See, I would argue that there's a couple other things that tend to sell consoles too. One is controller, which you're more comfortable with, things like that, which your friends buy.
Thanks, Mike.
Hardware specs and brand loyalty. Those are all factors when you end up buying a console outside of exclusives. Now, I will often pick up a second console or not specifically for exclusives. So I hold the fact that exclusives are important. You should have them to an extent. Microsoft.
Sorry. I'm choosing to stand pat and say double down 2 Amicos for the win. Moron.
Is kind of winning right now without exclusives because they're offering you the best deal in gaming right now with Game Pass. And you get the most out of it when you have like a Series S or Series X, because a lot more of the games come to there than they do to even PC, right? So there's a lot of stuff there kind of moving in the space now that really hasn't been there before. In the 90s and all that, it was pretty much about exclusive games, right? And they may have been a small amount of titles, but many people went out and bought those consoles specifically for those. Sony's no exception. When they got their start in the 90s, you had your Jack and Dexter, you had your Spyro, you had your Crash Bandicoot. A lot of these have since moved over to Microsoft.
Sorry, just interrupting on that point. Sony is starting to even release their flagships exclusives to PC. Yeah, but that's after about 2 years. God of War was on the PS4 for about 2 years before it came over to PC, thereabouts. So there's a big, long fucking window before they come to PC. So yeah, that's just a non-starter.
They now own those now. and you had all those titles like God of War and Uncharted and Metal Gear and all those things like that. And those moved consoles because those were big games. Those were big event games, and people were huge fans of those. And then people got used to that brand, became loyal to the brand, got partial to that specific controller layout. So that's what they're most comfortable with, and all their friends play on it. So it just continues. So even though there might be fewer exclusives now than there were then, that trend continues because of familiarity, friends, hardware specs, etc. On top of all that.
Let me answer this really quick. Flying Tigers is fantastic. That's one of my most anticipated games. Like, that's the first one I get in the store when I get a console, because like I love shooters. It just reminds me of a cross between Raiden 1943 and just something you'd find on TurboGrafx. But I really like that.
So you could just play those games now.
But yeah, like going off of what Nick and Rab were talking about, I also think this is it's not like they're just platforming, or I'm sorry, they're not putting everything multi-platform.
Platforming everything, yeah.
Yeah, they're still going to be, it's mostly all exclusive. It's just they're going to try to take some of these big Intellivision IPs, or maybe even some of the reimagined, and that would be smart to do those to make that money, to get that income. And heck, someone said earlier, I don't know if it was D Reed or I forgot. I'm sorry if I'm misquoting, but it was, how about games on mobile, dude? If they did 2 or 3 games ported them to mobile, the ones that could do that, that is killer money for that company to put more into getting this thing out to people and get more games coming up and more revenue.
These games are already on mobile. Excuse me. Mobile. They're already on mobile. All they're doing is just bringing mobile phone games onto a console, which is based on a 2016 mobile phone chip. Oh, God, the brainwashing in these fucking lunatics is immense.